made that boy into a god. Next page. Let's zoom in at the bottom, please. Read that.
Bust of the Savior posed for by Caesar Borgia.
So in this book called The Pillory, they let you know, they reveal that Caesar Borgia, the second son of Pope Alexander VI of Rome, posed for the image of the Savior, Jesus Christ. Pull back. So this is Pope Alexander VI's second son named Caesar. Some people pronounce it Cesaro Borgia. They made him into the image of God. Give me the next page. Zoom in at the bottom. Read that.
The original of this bust was found in the church of San Salvatore in Termis, now destroyed. It is an open secret that Caesar Borgia, the son of Pope Alexander, had posed for it.
So that it's an open, meaning all, now when it says open secret, meaning white folks know about it. Caesar Borgia posed for this image as Jesus Christ, and our people will kill you for this image. They will shoot you. They will stab you. I remember we was in Sierra Leone, and Deacon Isaac stepped on that picture. The black woman fell on the ground crying in hysteria. Captain Abiel went to was in Queens. Our people were worshiping Guadalupe. They threw hot water out the window, threw rocks at the brothers for this evil image right here. Okay, give me the next picture. Zoom in at the bottom. Read that.
A rare etching of Caesar Borgia, firstborn son of Alexander VI.
So in this book, it says, some books say second. This book here says the firstborn son of Alexander VI. But the point is, listen to what I'm about to say. Pull back. Leonardo da Vinci was the first one to paint his image as Jesus Christ. Followed by, write this down, followed by Michelangelo. He was younger than Leonardo da Vinci. But those were the two main artists that painted Caesar Borgia as Jesus Christ. Give me Matthew 24 and give me the next image. Nope. Yeah, that's fine. These are sketches of Leonardo da Vinci, of Caesar Borgia. See, you black Christians, you Latino Christians, you cannot battle against the Israelites. Not only do we know the Bible, we have historical evidence to shut you down. Until you can disprove these books, these old written books, you have nothing to say. Your churches are garbage. Every last Catholic church, Baptist church, Jehovah's Witness, Seventh-day Adventist, all your churches are garbage. You mean to tell me the Holy Spirit never told them that? Look at it. Somebody look at this. This loss of identity shows a stupid look. The churches is good for this look on the church. Who are you in the Bible? The Bible gives you all these nations in the Bible. Sister Bertha, which one are you in the Bible? Just like that. Then they want to fight you. They want to curse your mama. They want to smack the Bible out your hand. Give me the next one. Yep, look at him. Even Puff Daddy. That looked like just like him right there. That same stupid look. Don't care how much money they got. They look stupid. They don't know who they are. This is what Christ called our people the spiritual poor. The Bible also talks about oppression. I had to go back in some history for this. I wanted to social. Give me the next one. Oppression. Wipe out poverty. These are signs that our people held up during the turbulent 60s, 50s, and 60s. Wipe out poverty. Give me the next one. Police brutality. Give me the next one. Stop police brutality. Give me the next one. What did I say? Race discrimination breeds fascism. Look at that. We drive tanks. Why not trolleys? Because our brothers came back from the war. They said we was good enough to drive your tanks. How come we can't drive the street trolleys here in the city? Because they had, in the streets. I remember in Philly they had that. They still got some of them. The street car.
125th Street used to have a trolley thing like that in it.
In democracy, freedom to work belongs to all.
Give me that next one. Black people, 53% of the dead, 2% of the bread. Why? Boss, see, they was rapping back then. Give me the next one. Give me freedom or give me death. Go ahead.
I was, as this class was going on, I was, keep that image up there. And keep in mind those other images that Bishop showed. I mean, all of those images. I was just sitting here just taking mental notes. The purpose of idolatry is to cause you to put your hopes and efforts in something that is not the remedy to your problem. By giving you a false Jesus, it takes you away from the real Jesus. So therefore, you will lay all your troubles on something that's not even real. And that happened with the forcing of Christianity on us when they started conquering us. Talk about the Berlin Conference and the scramble for Africa's resources. They used Christianity as a doctrine to make our people accept slavery. Gave them a fake Jesus, made them worship that. Forced us, if you didn't take it, you were murdered for it. So when I was looking at those bright eyes, you know, our brothers lost, like you was bringing up about the identity, Bishop, and they were looking lost in all of that, that is a result of continuous persecution on those who would try to wake up from Christianity. In other words, there was no fractured organization from them giving us the live Christianity that got us to this point right now where we are destroyed, don't know who we are, don't know who to turn to, don't know, we accept slavery. All of this was a result of Christianity, which is idolatry. So that's the point that I'm bringing out here. So here, even in this, give freedom or death, all of this, we're looking for answers, and we're turning to an idol. We're not even turning to the real scriptures. We're not even turning to Christ because we are gross darkness and blindness. So that was it. That's it, Bishop.
Next one. Don't buy a trance. Even back then they had some sense that if you couldn't work there or they treated you bad, you don't buy there. You can't tell our people that today. Remember in Chicago, the Chinese lady beat the hell out of a black woman and her daughter. Brothers went to protest there for them not to buy. Black women gathered all throughout Chicago and cursed the men out. It's on video, cursed them out for standing up for them. This is why a lot of, but sisters, this is why, put me on the screen. A lot of you don't deserve to be protected. You'll not be protected. Because some of you are pieces of, you know the word. Stop racist brutality. Now you may say to yourself, well, that was back during the 60s. Bishop, it has nothing to do with us today. Give me the next picture. Give me the next one that I sent you. Right here. So you thought it has nothing to do with that. Sandra Bland, George Floyd, Tamir Rice. You thought that those police brutality and all that was just back then. Give me the next one. Thank you. All right, give me the next one. So these are all, and guess what? Everybody in this, like bottom right, the brother there was not killed by the police. The brother in the center on the left, Trayvon Martin, was not killed by the police. So because there's a narrative that Black Lives Movement is trying to spin that it's only the police that's doing it. No. God said Edomites are doing it. God says in Ezekiel 35, the nation of Esau has a perpetual hatred against. Is that Ezekiel 35? Get that for me? Or is it 36? Get it for me, because I know y'all looking at me now like, that ain't what the Bible say, you stupid. Just shut up. So the Bible says it ain't just the police. That's what I want y'all to see. Because the system is trying to get you to just look at the police. No, it's not that. It's white folks. That's who it is. Give me the next one. Okay. See that right there? Stop murder by police. That's a false narrative. It's not just the police that's doing it. Stop following stupid Black Lives Matter people. Most of them is lesbians and homosexuals. I don't know why you're following them. This is him. Now, I was never a follower of Jay Morrison. I did hear about real estate, that him, Dr. Boyce Watkins, and other black entrepreneurs were getting their money together and buying property, which evidently they bought a big, huge building in Georgia. Then allegedly, I'm saying allegedly for a reason, because I'm not in this circle, I don't know, but I've seen many stories on it. It said that he stole all the money. All the money. And there was a sister. Raise it up, let me see something. Okay, let me look. Okay, that was Boyce Watkins. Go down. Go down. Raise it up. I just saw Boyce Watkins. Okay, Black Wall Street boy, that's him right there. Right there on the left, that's him there. So that's the building they bought right there. See on the right, it says Legacy Center. They sold it, and this was a big thing, and there was a lot of videos on this. Y'all could find all this stuff out. I don't really follow them. But so allegedly, the people got robbed, and people are angry, okay? And rightfully so. So this is an example of oppression, brothers. In case I'm confused, what do you mean oppression? Watch.
1, institutional racism. This occurs when policies, practices, and procedures within institutions, such as government agencies, schools, businesses, and the justice system, systematically discriminate against individuals or groups.
All of this comes from the legislative branch, okay, whether the Senate or the House of Representatives. They back all these things. They don't come against this. Go ahead.
Based on their race. This can manifest in biased hiring practices, racial profiling, disparities in educational opportunities, and unequal access to services.
Number 2.
Structural racism. It refers to the way societal structures and institutions perpetuate racial inequalities, even if individuals within those structures are not explicitly racist.
Right. Oh, they're not explicitly racist. They're not racist. Regardless of that. Go ahead.
For example, historical segregation and discrimination have resulted in ongoing economic, educational, and health disparities that continue to affect marginalized racial groups.
Meaning black and brown people, Latinos. Go ahead. Number 3.
Environmental racism. This form of racism highlights how marginalized communities, usually composed of racial and ethnic minorities, face disproportionate exposure to environmental hazards, pollution, and degraded living conditions. Such discriminatory practices include the placement of toxic waste dumps, industrial facilities, and pollutant-emitting industries in these communities.
Mm-hmm. Number 4.
Colorism. Colorism is a form of discrimination that assigns value and privilege to individuals based on the lightness or darkness of their skin tone. This can result in lighter-skinned individuals being favored and given more opportunities compared to their darker-skinned counterparts within the same racial or ethnic group.
Number 5.
Racial profiling. This occurs when law enforcement or other authorities single out individuals for suspicion or scrutiny based on their race or ethnicity. Racial profiling can lead to unfair targeting, increased scrutiny, and negative consequences, such as wrongful arrests or biased treatment by law enforcement.
Number 6.
Economic discrimination. Systemic racism can also be observed through economic disparities. It may include unequal access to education, limited employment opportunities, wage gaps, and uneven wealth distribution, which disproportionately affect racial and ethnic minorities. 7, mass incarceration. The disproportionately high rates of imprisonment for individuals from marginalized racial and ethnic backgrounds is a systemic issue. It is often attributed to discriminatory policing.
You're number 8. I cut it off. Go ahead.
Education disparities. Systemic racism can be observed in educational disparities, which affect access to quality education, resources, and opportunities for racial and ethnic minority students. This includes disparities in school funding, unequal distribution of resources, inadequate representation of diverse cultures and histories in the curriculum, and biased disciplinary practices that disproportionately target students of color.
Now, all these we could spend on inequities.
Health inequities. Systemic racism impacts health outcomes and access to healthcare services. Racial and ethnic minorities often face barriers to receiving quality healthcare, including limited access to affordable health insurance, healthcare facilities, and cultural competent care. This can result in disparities in health outcomes, higher rates of chronic illnesses, and shorter life expectancies. 10, housing discrimination. Systemic racism is evident in housing discrimination, where racial and ethnic minority groups face difficulties in accessing safe and affordable housing. Practices such as redlining, racial steering, and discriminatory lending contribute to residential segregation and unequal access to housing opportunities.
So now we went through those 10 things in brief. Go back to Ecclesiastes 4:1 again.
Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 1.
And give me the next picture.
So I returned and considered all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of such as were oppressed, and they had no comforter.
We had no comforter. Go ahead.
And on the side of their oppressors,
And on the side of the white man and these other nations,
there was power.
there was power. Now, let me show you another example of power. Give me the next picture. America has the largest and most powerful military on the earth. We ain't got that. Give me the next one. This is an example of power. So behind their legislative branch, all of this backs them up. So you're not overthrowing them. Okay, give me the next one. You ain't got that. Give me the next one. They even have a police force, 40,000 here in New York. Have their spiritual eyes closed. Things we talk about through the Bible that we see in the Bible, they can never see. Their spiritual eyes are closed. All they see is give me money. Read that. Now, this book right here, Bishop, you familiar with this book? How many of y'all got this book? Okay, 3 brothers, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 brothers. Now, this is called Behold the Pale Horse. William Cooper, he was killed. He was unalived. That's a new term, unalived. Wow. They murdered this dude. It's an Edomite wrote this book. Next page. Now, this is my original copy. Y'all see copyright 1991 by Milton William Cooper. So I got this back in 91. That's when I got it. The cover came off, so I bought a new one. Flip. So the new one, if you look at the top, copyright 1991, Milton William Cooper, revised 2020. So I got a revised copy. So I didn't think too much of it. So this is after he's dead. William Cooper been killed already. Next page. Y'all see chapter 15, right? This is the new revised. Chapter 15, the story of Jonathan May. So when I got this book, I said, I don't remember a story of nobody called Jonathan May. So I said, hey, I called my son, find me the book, the old copy. I ain't got my glasses. Just go downstairs and find the book, the Behold the Pale White Horse. I said, and go to chapter 15 and take a picture. Give me the next page. So this was it. Chapter 15. Protocols of the Wise Men of Zion. Zoom into that whole 2 sections right there. And let's read that.
The Protocols of Zion were referred to in the late 1700s. The first copy available to public scrutiny surfaced in the early 1800s. Every aspect of this plan to subjugate the world has since become reality, validating the authenticity of conspiracy. Author's note.
Now listen to Yeah. So listen to the author's note. He put something here that he wrote. Now remember, this was before they assassinated him. They took this out. Read that.
This is an exact reprint of the original text. This has been written intentionally to deceive people. For clear understanding, the word Zion should be Sion. Any reference to Jews should be replaced with the word Illuminati. And the word Goyim should be replaced with the word cattle.
Because that's what the word means. So now what I wanted y'all to see, when he talks about Jews, he tells you, he put a code in the book. I'll use the word Illuminati. So what Amalek did when he died, they took the whole chapter out and put some Jonathan. So who the hell is Jonathan May? That's what they did. So now we want to go inside the book. Let's go next page. Zoom in. So I'm still dealing with fear no evil. I'm still dealing with evil. I'm just showing you. Read that.
Diversion, the primary strategy. Experience has proven that the simplest method of securing a silent weapon and gaining control of the public is to keep the public undisciplined and ignorant.
Stop! Wait a minute. Keep the public undisciplined. Didn't we read about what idolatry does? And Wisdom of Solomon said this great war. What was the word? Ignorance. Keep them ignorant. Put them up. Put out Sukiana. Put out Sexy Red. Keep the public dumb as hell.
Thus, being able to shift their thinking from personal needs to highly fabricated outside priorities. These preclude their interest in and discovery of the silent weapons of social automation technology. The general rule is that there is profit in confusion. The more confusion, the more profit. Therefore, the best approach is to create problems and then offer the solutions. Diversion summary. Media.
That statement, I just heard it. I wasn't even looking. Read that statement again, that last thing.
Therefore, the best approach is to create problems and then offer the solutions.
That's foreign policy. That's what they do to countries. They make a mess, then they say, well, we're going to go in there and save it.
Diversion summary. Media. Keep the adult public attention diverted away from the real social issues and captivated by matters of no real importance. Schools. Keep the young public ignorant of real mathematics, real economics, real law, and real history. Entertainment. Keep the public entertainment below a 6th grade level. Work. Keep the public busy, busy, busy with no time to think, back on the farm with the other animals.
Damn. Next page. Just the highlighted areas. Is it blurred? Dang, it's blurred. I didn't take a good picture. Read that. Can you read it?
It is in their homes, in their communities, that they are most vulnerable to mind war.
Mind war. Go ahead.
Was the United States defeated in the jungles of Vietnam, or was it defeated in the streets of American cities? Mm-hmm. To this end, mind war must be strategic in emphasis, with tactical applications playing a reinforcing supplementary role. In its strategy context, mind war must reach out to friends, enemies, and neutrals alike across the globe, neither through the primitive battlefield leaflets and loudspeakers of, can't see that, PSYOP, nor through the weak.
So he's saying we ain't going to do this mind war just through handing out leaflets and a megaphone. Go ahead.
Nor through the weak, imprecise, and narrow effort of psychotronics, but through the media.
Mm-hmm. But through the media, that's TV, internet. Go ahead.
Possessed by the United States, which have the capabilities to reach virtually all people on the face of the earth.
That's the reason why some certain black men couldn't buy it. They said, you're not messing with this. This right here works too well for us.
That's Revelation 12:9,
exactly.
Which deceiveth the whole world. Go ahead.
These media are, of course, the electronic media, television, and radio. State-of-the-art developments in satellite communication, video recording techniques, and laser and optical transmission of broadcasts make possible a penetration of the minds of the world, such as would have been inconceivable just a few years ago.
Right, now they got the internet, World Wide Web. Go ahead.
Mind war must target all participants if it is to be effective. It must not only weaken the enemy, it must strengthen the United States. It strengthens the United States by denying enemy propaganda.
That's us. Deny what they say.
Access to our people. And by explaining it strengthens the United States by denying enemy propaganda access to our people. And by explaining and emphasizing to our people the rationale for our national interests.
Next page. So watch what they did to the fathers.
Factor 2, father. The man of the household must be housebroken.
That's some of you simps say you must be housebroken. Go ahead.
To ensure that Junior will grow up with the right social training and attitudes.
So that your son will grow up with the right social training and attitudes. Go ahead.
The advertising media, etc., are engaged to see to it that father-to-be is pussy whipped before or by the time he is married.
This is why they hate masculinity.
Yeah.
That was their plan from the beginning.
So you have people saying that Willie Lynch is bull crap. This is basically the same damn thing. This is just more sophisticated.
We don't.
He is taught that he either conforms to the social notch cut out for him or his sex life will be hobbled. And his tender companionship.
What do women say? If you don't do what I say, you ain't getting no sex. Yep. They say use that against the simple man. Make him pussy whipped. That's why the scriptures teach us to discipline or mortify your members upon the earth. Go ahead.
And his tender companionship will be zero. He is made to see that women demand security more than logical, principled, or honorable behavior.
What are they saying about the black woman? She has she's not logical, she's not principled, and she has no understanding of honorable behavior. She's a hood rat. Make her ratchet. That's what he's saying. Give me the next one. Give me the next one. Right there.
Factor 3, mother. The female element of human society is ruled by emotion first and logic second. In the battle between logic and imagination always wins. Fantasy prevails.
This is why they give women those stupid stories, those soap operas, Atlanta Housewives. Why? Because they live in a fantasy world. They said that's how they manipulate the woman. Go ahead.
Maternal instinct dominates so that the child comes first and the future comes second. A woman with a newborn baby is too starry-eyed to see a wealthy man's cannon fodder or a cheap source of slave labor. A woman must, however, be conditioned to accept the transition to reality when it comes, or sooner.
So they got the woman in the handbasket just like the men. Next page.
It becomes more difficult to manage. The family unit must be carefully disintegrated.
Y'all see that? This is why they got the man pussy whipped and a woman, it says she has no idea of logic or what it say, honorable, what it say? Behavior. So what does she do? Put you out the house. Why? So that the family unit will become carefully disintegrated. Read that part again. As a transition. Read it again.
As the transition becomes more difficult to manage, the family unit must be carefully disintegrated. And state-controlled public education and state-operated child care centers must become more common and legally enforced so as to begin the detachment of the child from the mother and father at an earlier age.
Indoctrination centers, the school to prison pipeline, all that's about that. Go ahead.
Inoculation of behavioral drugs as Ritalin.
Yeah, when they say your son got ADHD, give him some Ritalin. Go ahead.
Can speed the transition for the child. It's mandatory.
Give me the next page. Go back to the top tag. Is it cut off at the top? All right, read as best you can. Start the deep, see what got the salesman. Start there.
The salesman was ordained Poland's.
Oh, no, you got to read the top. I'm sorry. For his life. I forgot I cut off. I'm sorry, y'all. Go ahead.
For his life. Joined the Catholic Church and was ordained a priest in 1946.
So this is a particular Edomite. Go ahead, he's talking about.
One of his closest friends was Dr. Wolf Zumanis, the mastermind behind the November 1978 to October 1979 and March 1980 to October 1981 experimental hepatitis B vaccine trials conducted by the Center for Disease Control in New York, San Francisco, and 4 other American cities that loosed the plague of AIDS on the American people. The salesman was ordained Poland's youngest bishop in 1958. After a 30-day reign, his predecessor was assassinated, and our ex-cyanide gas salesman assumed the papacy as Pope John Paul II.
Y'all see that? Damn. Jump down.
The Pope has challenged world leaders by claiming that the people of the world already recognize the absolute authority of Rome because they observed the Sunday Sabbath that was ordered by the Pope in the Council of Laodicea, AD 364. The original 10 commandments given to Moses by God ordered that we should remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Exodus 20:8-11, ESV. The 7th day, the Sabbath as handed to Moses by God, is Saturday. The celebration of Sunday as the Sabbath is verification that the people recognize the Pope as superior to God.
Do y'all see that? So that's your mothers, your fathers, they all recognize the Pope as superior to God. Next page. Now the Club of Rome is a think tank. It's a group of Edomites who are the top of the Harvard and Yale institutions, people like that. Read that.
The Club of Rome was also asked to develop a computer model of a new world order. Both tasks were accomplished. Studies were done to determine a method to arrest the population explosion before the point of no return would be reached. It was determined that an immediate attack on the problem would involve 2 points of intervention. The first was to lower the birth rate, and the second was to increase the death rate. To lower the birth rate, several programs were put into motion. The first was the development of positive birth control methods using mechanical, diaphragm and condom, chemical, foam and birth control pills, and medical, sterilization, abortion, and hysterectomy procedures. These were developed and implemented. The women's liberation movement was started with the demand for free abortions, using pro-choice as its rallying cry. Homosexuality was encouraged.
You see that? Homosexuality was encouraged. Go ahead.
And gay liberation was born. Homosexuals do not have children. Zero population growth became a hot subject at cocktail parties.
Cocktail parties amongst the elite. Watch this. Go ahead.
What was needed was the bubonic plague or some other horrible but natural disease. The answer came from Rome. Several top secret recommendations were made by Dr. Aurelio Pecci of the Club of Rome.
Pecci.
He advocated that a plague be introduced that would have the same effect as the famous Black Death of history. The chief recommendation was to develop a microbe that would attack the autoimmune system and thus render the development of a vaccine impossible. The orders were given to develop the microbe and to develop a prophylactic and a cure. The microbe would be used against the general population and would be introduced by vaccine. The prophylactic was to be used by the ruling elite. The cure will be administered to the survivors when it is decided that enough people have died. The cure would be announced as newly developed when in fact it has existed from the beginning. This plan is a part of Global 2000. The prophylactic and the cure are suppressed.
So now one thing you got to know about this guy, he was in the military during the Vietnam War, and he came across a lot of papers in the unit he was in. So he did what, what's that guy, Snow did? Edward Snowden, and the other guy, Julian. So he put some of the stuff that he found in this book. Go to the next one. So now he's talking that disease. Y'all know what that disease is. We ain't going to say the name. Go ahead.
So Julian Huxley said, overpopulation is, in my opinion, the most serious threat to the whole future of our species. Since large populations were to be decimated, the ruling elite decided to target the undesirable elements of society. Specifically targeted were the black, Hispanic, and homosexual populations.
This whole thing has always been about us. Get rid of the black and the damn homosexuals, but the blacks and Hispanics, get rid of them. Go ahead.
The African continent was infected via smallpox vaccine.
So now women listening, some women, this is going over some of you sisters' head, because like they said, women deal with emotions. Most do not deal with logic or anything honorable. So that's for you sisters, pay attention. Go ahead.
The African continent was infected via smallpox vaccine in 1977. The vaccine was administered by the World Health Organization. According to Dr. Robert Strecker, without a cure, the entire black population of Africa will be dead within 15 years. Some countries are well beyond epidemic status. The U.S. population was infected in 1978 with the hepatitis B vaccine. Dr. Wolf Zumanis, the ex-roommate of Pope John Paul II, was the mastermind behind the November 1978 to October 1979 and March 1980 to October 1981 experimental hepatitis B vaccine trials conducted by the Centers for Disease Control in New York, San Francisco, and 4 other American cities. He loosed the plague of AIDS on the American people. The gay population was infected. The ads for participants specifically asked for promiscuous homosexual male volunteers. Whatever causes AIDS was in the vaccine. The vaccine was manufactured and bottled in Phoenix, Arizona.